Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle is about to come on and rock your world. And we're going to be talking about upgrading your coaching business model and accountability systems and like the big benefit of systems in general. So definitely stick around. We're going to have a lot of fun. Before we dive into that though, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and for choosing to be your greatest possible self on this journey with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. And also our upcoming event, it is Meant for More, coming up in April 24th, 25th, and 26th. It's going to be an amazing event. My girlfriend Petya, she is hosting it here in Las Vegas. So if you want to be around empowered women becoming your greatest possible self, it's a women's only event and it's going to rock the house. So definitely go to meantformore.live and check that out because it is going to be a lot of fun. Definitely. Next up is our iTunes review of the week. And this week, I believe it's by Inspiration J Inspiration. I always get that backwards. J Inspiration, greatest possible podcast. Chris is committed to being his best, his guests being their best, and his audience being inspired to take action to transform their lives. Thank you so much, J Inspiration. I appreciate you. And if you want a chance to get shouted out on a future 12-hour live stream, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Greatest Possible Self on the Apple Podcast Store. Give us a review. Let us know what you love, what you want to see more of, and how we can improve the show for you. Thank you in advance for doing that. I'm going to introduce Michelle in just a sec here. Before that, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes. This is going to be a powerful interview, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So definitely stick around all the way through till the end, because one idea, one system, one process, one mindset shift can change everything for you. Michelle Demers is the creator of The Power of 15. Move mountains in 15 minutes a day. Her proprietary process that helps clients massively increase productivity, break through barriers and procrastination, build new and lasting habits, achieve their goals, and ultimately create time freedom in their work and lives. She's also the creator of the Power of 15 Club, PWR15 for short, an online community consisting of daily achievement teams for action takers to get coaching, accountability, and peer support on their wildly important goals. In addition, Michelle mentors and provides done-for-you services for coaches, consultants, trainers, experts, and others who create transformation for clients to build and grow their online communities using her daily achievement team model. And that is just scratching the surface with this epic woman. Michelle, are you ready to bring the heat, Superwoman?
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
You are ready. All right, let me just get the Zoom window set up real quick. It is on something previously from a last interview, so let me get that on the screen.
Great. Thank you.
Give me 2 secs. And Michelle, let me send a quick, a new URL to you. Something happened with the system, so let me send it over real quick through Facebook Messenger, okay? One sec. I'll be right back. All right, so we have a quick technical difficulty. Let me get this over to Michelle right now so that we can rock it out on this next interview because we had to start up a new Zoom. So Michelle, it is coming for you. Give me 1 sec. And we're going to have a lot of fun. Michelle, this woman is an absolute superstar. All right. And by the way, I've known her for a while. We actually met a couple of years ago from one of the other companies that I was in called Infopreneur Agency. That was a lot of fun. That's a whole nother chapter. So Michelle, I sent it over. You should have the new Zoom link now. And let's get this on the screen as well for when she jumps back in. All right, Michelle, we are ready to rock and roll. I'm going to put you on the screen now. Thank you so much for your patience. You're just an absolute superstar. All right, Michelle, you're live on Become Your Greatest Possible Self. I appreciate the patience. We're going to dive right into the theme of today, which is meant for more, okay? So we just want to hear, what does that mean for you, Michelle?
I'm sorry, I missed what you said. Meant for more?
Yep, meant for more. What does that mean for you?
More.
Yes.
So meant for more, I think what you demonstrate here, Chris, is that we're constantly evolving. Yeah. And I think it takes our whole lives to really reach into all the nooks and crannies of who we are as people and to really investigate and discover all those pieces of ourselves and express them. So that's what it means to me.
I love it. It's really this process of self-discovery is what I'm hearing is
Yeah.
there's so many different facets of life. Like, who are we? What's important to us? What are our passions? What are our gifts? And that's a
Yeah.
constant journey that we're on to really discover that. And I'm sure when you're coaching business owners and building these models and systems for them, there's so many different opportunities of what to work on, you know, and knowing
Right.
what are the leverage points that really make the difference. I think that's one of the greatest gifts that you have, that you can bring
Yeah.
to these business owners, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to say that I'm somebody who, if I meet you, I can kind of see your business big picture from
Yeah.
20,000 feet, and I know all the pieces of marketing. I can see it all for you. I'm better at doing that for other people than myself.
Sure, sure.
I think that's true of all of
For
us.
just about anyone, we're always like, when it's not us, when we're not like, all right, I see the things the way that I see them and like open.
Yeah.
When we're not attached, that's when we're really able to make the biggest difference, you know?
Right,
Yeah,
right, right. Or I think for myself, because I see the big picture too,
yeah,
lasering in, and where do we start? What's the
yeah.
next step? Which is actually really what I'm good at helping other people do. So,
Wow.
yeah,
I love it. I love it, Michelle. So, for everyone who's just hearing about you, I want you to introduce yourself a little bit. Tell them a little bit more about the types
sure.
of clients that you serve and what you stand for in the work that you do. And I know there's a number of different things that you do, but just in a few couple words, what would that be? What do you stand for?
Yeah. Well, I've been in the coaching industry for 20 years,
Okay.
and I've worked, actually, have been coached other coaches at helping them build their business. And the thing that I really stand for is getting results
Mm,
for our clients.
mm,
And I know that we all want to, and we try really hard, but sometimes we don't have the right tools or systems to do that the way we'd really like to. And so, for the last 3 or 4 years, the model that we're going to be talking about today is that I was on a mission to help my own clients get better results. And also, I really wanted to create an online group service
mm,
that was really effective. And
mm.
so I found this model and I've been perfecting it, and it really does that. It delivers on results.
Wow, I love it. I think that's the true test of a coach, a mentor, a leader. What results is your team and your people getting? And I think
Right.
that's something a lot of people struggle with. Even just entrepreneurs who want to succeed in business, it can be really difficult to find out, hey, how do I get to my next level? How do I produce the result for the goal that I'm going for? And so to have
Yeah.
a system like yours that can really make that difference for them, I think it's awesome what you're
Right.
doing for people.
And how to use the on other online tools that are available to us, because
Yeah.
with the rise of online courses in the last 10 to 15 years, and Facebook groups and all sorts of stuff, we have
Mm.
all these things, but yet we see that participation rates in programs aren't that high, completion
Yeah.
rates, results. And so there's something missing, there's something broken there.
Wow.
And that's what I wanted to fix.
I love it. I love it. It's cool. I want to go back
Yeah,
into the journey, Michelle, and talk about how did you get started in business, personal development, coaching. Tell us a little bit more about that.
sure. Okay, so 20 years ago, to be very honest, I've experienced a lot of loss in my life, a lot of tragedy and trauma. And so I think when you go through that at a young age, you search for answers,
Yeah.
and you have to go inside to places that a lot of people don't have to go to, at least not in those formative years. And so I think it just called on me to, like, everyone called me an old soul.
Mm,
And I had to be wiser beyond my years. So I've always kind of been this more of this just searching for answers to big questions, who I am. And um, that's why coaching, I think, appealed to me. I wanted to help people. I wanted to answer those questions for myself. I wanted
mm,
to help other people answer those questions for themselves. I knew therapy wasn't the route for me. And then I found coaching. It was kind of right at the time that coaching started to become a thing. And I thought, wow, this really feels right to me. So I started doing some coach training and getting in the field, and
mm.
been in there ever since.
I love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
I think that spiritual perspective, right? Like having a soul perspective, a wise soul, which I really hear that you had. That's
Yeah.
such a common theme, I feel like, in coaches, because it's like, hey, this
Mm,
ain't my first rodeo around on this thing. Like, let's be a contribution. Let's be of service to other people who are on the journey, who want that fulfillment,
right.
who want that happiness, who want to experience all that life has to offer, right? This journey is so beautiful, but sometimes we can get in our own way so much. And also experiencing that loss in the beginning, you're like, there's got to be a reason for this. There's got to be some kind of gift, some kind of deeper purpose around
Mm,
this. And it's like, how do you make sense of so much pain when we're going through it? It's so difficult. But then looking
right.
back and being able to analyze, and with you, that big picture value and that gift that you have, you can look back and
Mm.
see the bigger picture of the past, extrapolate that out to the future, and be like, okay, I know why I'm here. I know what I'm doing to serve people.
Yeah, uh, probably back in 2005, I was still kind of struggling as to what my purpose is.
Sure, sure.
And I figured out my purpose is to help other people with their purpose. But it took me another 10 years after that to
Mm,
figure out the way that I really wanted to help people, like my methodology that
sure,
I use
sure.
now that
Yeah,
I developed. So
yeah.
it took me kind of a long time to really find my way with it. But now that I have, it's like everything's coming into alignment and syncing up. And, you look back and it's like I had to go through that
Yes.
windy path because everything I collected along the way is now coming and it's part of my toolbox, if you will, that I can draw on to help people.
Yeah,
So,
those experiences were invaluable. They were
yeah,
so essential to you being who you are today, and then building this platform, right? Like, you had to go through those in the unique, special way that you did to be
right.
equipped to really serve and transform people's lives. So I love it. I love it. Let's dive into this system of
Sure.
results. Like, why would someone even need a system? Can't people just show up and wing it and live their best life ever?
Well, you tell me. You're the expert on that.
We need
uh,
systems, Michelle. Tell us more.
yeah. What's funny, you say wing it and you've got like the wings of
Right?
fire behind you.
Right.
Um, yeah, no, we need systems. We
Yeah.
need structure. We need community. We
Mm,
need people who can, like real accountability, right?
yeah. Yeah.
When sometimes you have an accountability partner and they start to drop off and you start
Mm,
to drop off. But what I call it, putting the bowling alley bumpers up, when you have kids that
mm.
go bowling,
Yep.
um, it's like, we have enough space and flexibility for people to have freedom, to be able to move in that space in our methods, but then we have structure so that they can't go off the rails.
Mm,
You need both.
yeah. 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 Because, like, if we just say, hey, we want you to be a cookie cutter, this is the only way that it can be done, this is the only way that you can do it,
Right,
like, and control everything, then I think that's not what a lot of people get into around business. But to still have that
right.
unique voice, that unique expression, to feel free while also being guided, I think is the
Yeah,
ultimate synergy of freedom and expression and flow and structure and achievement and discipline. Like, to bring both of those together, that's the art. I think that's why we're here to learn. Well, that's one of the reasons why we're here, to
right.
learn how to do that.
Right, exactly. A great way to sum up what I do is, the story about the tortoise and the hare, and the tortoise wins the race.
Yes.
We're teaching you how to be the tortoise.
Mm,
We're all about helping you with daily choices, doing the right things every day, showing up every day, even if
yeah.
it's just a little bit. Doing a little bit every day trumps doing a lot here and there.
Oh
It's
yeah.
about habits, it's
Yeah.
about routine, it's about, even just the whole mindset piece too.
Mm,
If you're not constantly in that right mindset place, even a day or two, things can fall off the wagon.
yeah. Yeah.
So it's really about, part of our program is it is a daily process. We're with you every day. And so we don't let you fall off the wagon.
I love this, Michelle. I found in my own transformational journey, daily practices, especially daily accountability calls, daily partners who like really show up. And ideally you have someone who's able to interact with you. You can have really powerful conversation, and that person is committed and consistent every single day that you are, and even pulls you forward with them if if you fall off the track, if you get distracted. But the next best thing I would say is having a system. And I know that there's groups involved, there's people who meet up and things like that, but having a system, some kind of daily check, some kind of daily reflection. How did I do? How did I show up today? What could be done differently tomorrow? And also, what were my targets today? What are my targets today? And how do I hit those? And like, how do I do better tomorrow? So that daily process is so freaking important. It's like a non-negotiable. Like doing something once a week, that's great, but to do it every day, that is the level of, in my opinion, the level of obsession that it takes to be really great at anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really depends. In our groups, people can choose any goal that they want to work on.
Sure.
So some people are organizing their homes, some people are working on their businesses, some people are losing weight. Different goals lend themselves to different things. For people who are working on their businesses, I tell them 5 days is our minimum on the check-in. Do the 5. Take the weekend off. There's the whole sharpening the saw piece, right? But then the people who, the losing weight or getting fit people, those are the people that you can't just eat great all week and then take the weekend off every week. So it also depends on what your goal is, but you have to be in it daily, whether it's your business or anything that you're working on, if you really want true transformation.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Michelle. Let's talk about what structural components need to be there for someone to create success, right? To whatever their goal is. What have you seen are important components? Because checking in on a daily basis, or a daily touch point, a daily process of something, we're clear on that. That's like a green light go. What else beyond that, Michelle?
Yeah. Well, the other thing we provide, that's the other half of the equation, is my Power of 15 process, move mountains in 15 minutes per day.
I love it.
Where I teach people how to take whatever their results-oriented goal. I want to write a book. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to run a marathon, whatever it is, and how to convert that into time plus action goals. So if I want to write a book, I need to spend time writing. If I want to lose weight, I need to spend time eating right, exercising, getting sleep. So nothing happens unless you take time in action. So, but the challenge that a lot of people have is they don't know how to break things down into those time and action pieces, and then how to put them into their day in a way that they can do consistently. So they're already overwhelmed, and then they try to cram on, I want to start this new exercise program or this thing, and they just add on top of the overwhelm instead of saying, look, I got to clear some stuff out so that I can make space for this. And they struggle with figuring out, well, what do I keep, what has to go, what my focus and priorities are. And as I said in the very beginning, those are things that we all struggle with sometimes. Sometimes we need somebody else to ask the questions, to say, hey, is that really important for you? So having the check-in points, how are you doing, is the tracking part. As any success expert would say, that's critical. If you're not measuring it, if you're not tracking it, you really don't know where you are or where you're going. If you don't have a method to actually do it, then you are kind of, as you were saying, like winging it and shooting in the dark. And you are on that windy path. You might get to your goal eventually, but you might not get there as fast or as easily if you really had a plan of action. And then you need people. You need different kinds of people. So in my groups, you have your peers, and our groups can range anywhere from 4 to 8 to 12 people. And you need that peer support. You need people who are on the same path as you, who are sharing their experiences, and you're learning from their successes and their failures. You're sharing it all, because you're going to pick up lessons from other people that are going to help you to make choices on what you're doing or not doing, and vice versa. You're helping others by sharing what's working and what's not working. And then we have a coach, because the coach can take a slightly different position. The coach can be that person to put that element of accountability in place that takes that pressure off your peers from having to play that role.
Yeah, because you don't
They
want
can
you don't
just
want to be the bad guy. You don't be like, bro, did you do it? Come on, girl, did you do it? You know, it's like, oh, it doesn't feel so good. But knowing that we're all on the same team together and having that coach or that referee who's there, like, hey, what's the score? You know, like, let's be real. What's the score? And if you didn't get the points that you wanted, what are you going to do differently?
Yeah. And if you didn't show up, you're getting a text message from us. Where are you?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the other part of it. You know, the nice thing, because I know part of what we're talking about today is from the vantage point of other coaches and consultants, like how this could work for them. And one of the big things is being able to have that level of visual on where your clients are at all times. You can catch them so early before they start to go off and support them in staying on, that it's really important to do that.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that a little bit, because since you brought it up, so coaches, they can adapt this system to their own coaching practice. Like, tell us a little bit more about what types of coaches use it, and what is that process of integration like? Like, what should they be excited about or be anticipating?
Yeah, so I work with people who work on any topic. I have people who are spiritual coaches, health and wellness coaches, sales and business coaches, money coaches, manifesting. I mean, you name it, you can use it with anything. They tailor it to their content, their topic. So the check-ins are around whatever it is their people are working on. And you don't even need a course with this. So one of the great aspects of this is a lot of programs are very content heavy, right? It's like based on a course, or every week you're putting out a new module, a new video, a new checklist, a new, like, you're just constantly creating content. Now this can work with content, or it can work as more of an implementation to other things. So for example, my Power 15 course is 1 hour total. I have had people implementing and working that course for 2 years, just 1 hour. So you don't have to be constantly generating a lot of content. So for a lot of coaches where content's a struggle, they're new, it's not their love, they can have groups like this where they can give high value and it's not dependent on having a lot of content. So that's very powerful. But it can plug into anything. People use it with mastermind groups. They use it pre and post retreats. They use it as corporate continuity programs, live workshops. So, or people even that get together live, this provides the online connection in between live meetings and events. So really anywhere that you have a group of people who are working on some type of common goal or transformation, you can make this work for it.
Gold. I love it. So I hear it's also really great for people who don't necessarily want to be building all these modules for the coaching, or maybe that's not their strength or something like that. But it's more, I think a lot of people who are just really great when they show up in service in a mastermind component on a group coaching call, where it's like, hey, here's the goal for this group. Everyone bring your questions, bring what you want to be working on, your goal. And of course, you can set a common goal for the group and work towards it.
Absolutely. It works great for that. And here's the thing, because I've been in the content creation world, course world, we're actually, I'm just painting with a broad brush. Generally, we're giving people too much content. We think that they can get more done than they can. And by offering even more content, every week you're getting another video, every week you're getting this or that. People sign up for that because it's like, that's great. But then the reality is the video comes, they don't watch it. The next video comes, they don't watch it. Then it's mounting up, and then they're feeling overwhelmed, like, I paid for this, when am I going to get to this? And then they either drop because they feel like, I just can't keep up with it and I'm paying for something I'm not using.
And they're beating themselves up and feeling guilt and shame.
So one of the things I do with clients that want to start groups like this is I will look at your content with you. And what you tell me is a 4-week program, I'll probably tell you is a 6-month program. You know, like, I help you because I understand by being in this world and seeing what people actually do and can do,
Yeah.
I have a better sense of how long things actually really take people, and what they need versus what they don't, and how you can really streamline to give them exactly what they need for the results.
Yeah, I love that you just like tacked on that word at the end. Results. That is the name.
Results.
That's the name of the game, Michelle. And I think there's a lot of people with great intentions out there who are
Yeah.
like, I want to provide all the value, all the transformation in the world, and it's like that's great. Is the execution on that effective, right? And I think that's where a lot of coaches, especially, have room to grow. It's like you can provide the service, and when we start to scale into bigger and bigger groups, or just delivering content across people versus one-on-one, that's when some things start to fall through the cracks, because we're juggling so many different people and their journeys and their implementation of whatever they are learning, which is the implementation piece. Is like, is this person actually implementing? Do they have the support? Do they have the belief systems in place that they can implement? Are they seeing
Right.
people around them implement and they feel empowered and excited about that? So I really love what
Right.
I'm understanding about this system. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the things I say is information is for a period. You have a course, it's 4 weeks, 8 weeks, even a year, but implementation is forever. So if you have a
Wow.
client that, let's say it's sales client, and you have a sales process, you're teaching them how to do consultations, how to get clients, you have a course, you have a process. They'll learn that in the 4, the 8 to 12 weeks, but they'll need to practice that forever. So that is really where, from a recurring revenue money making standpoint for coaches, because that's an important consideration when you're looking at business models. That's why you can keep clients so long, because they have to keep implementing and practicing it. And then they're coming and saying, this is what I'm doing, this is what's working, this is what's not. They don't need more. They don't need the next, module. They just need to say, I tried it. Help me do better.
Fine-tuning, tweaking. Like once they get the
Yeah,
basic curriculum, 4 to 8 weeks, then it's about implementation and refinement
yeah,
of the basics.
exactly. I mean, mastery.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that, you can't have more advanced
Yeah, new
programs and
teachings. Yeah.
classes, all of that, but really people need a lot of time to implement what they're learning before going on to that next phase. Yeah.
And to design a system around getting results, it might seem counterintuitive, like the tortoise and the hare, right? You might want to go Mach 4 with our hair on fire, right? If you got hair, and really delivering those results and being committed to the long run, that will pay off in our branding, in what people say about us in the long run anyway. So it's like, really having that focus on, is this person getting the results and making the progress that they really want to.
Exactly. I'm not an advocate for like the challenges and the boot camps that ask people to, all of a sudden you're going from 0 to 100 miles an hour for whether it's 5 days or 30 days.
Yeah.
It's like you basically just created burnout for that person, and it's so much more important to graduate somebody. I mean, honestly, I had one woman who, she had never written a book before. She's actually still one of my clients. She's in my club. She's doing her 15-minute process, but she had never written a book before. And actually, she's dyslexic, and writing is hard for her, but she always was writing in her head, her stories. So she's in her 50s and she's never written a book. She's had stories in her head her whole life. And she started with 15 minutes a day. And that's all she would do. That's how I told people, just start there. And she did 15 minutes a day for 6 months, 9 months. And then she started to increase when she felt ready. And she did end up getting to 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. But she had worked up to that.
Oh, yeah.
And she submitted her manuscript to Hallmark. Her vision was she wanted to submit the story to Hallmark Publishing for possible making a movie out of it. Wow. Now it didn't go through the first time, but she's now still doing the process to do another round to get it resubmitted again. And so she just needed my 15-minute process, and then she just needed to implement it every day. And the check-in kept her accountable and kept her going when she didn't want to. Some days, there's days none of us want to do anything, right?
It's so true. Like, you know, we have different energy, different moods every day, and we can't pretend like we're always flying high on cloud 9, right? It's a journey. It's ups and downs. I love that. I want to dive into the Power 15 just so that our audience can get more clear on what that 15-minute process looks like. Can we dive into that real quick?
Yeah, well, a lot of people might have heard of the Pomodoro method. I don't know. Have you heard of that, Chris? So that's where you work in 25-minute increments, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. So in an hour, you've worked 50 minutes.
Sure.
I've shortened that to 15 minutes because when you look at scheduling, it's easier to fit 3 to 4 15-minute blocks in an hour. And honestly, once you start getting like, oh, I have to put 25 minutes into it, 30 minutes into it, that starts to feel not doable for the busy person. Yeah. Have to keep it small. So the goal is you can always do more, but you're committing to a minimum of 15 minutes. And the other thing is, have you heard of high intensity training, interval training?
HIIT, yes.
Yes, HIIT. Yeah, a lot of people use it in the exercise world. So that is the same concept we're applying here. So what we want to do is we want to make your 15 minutes as productive as possible. So like the equivalent of 30 minutes or more. So we set a timer. We do. We get focused. We turn off distractions. I have a whole process for it. A lot of it's not rocket science. A lot of it's the things that people have heard, but just the steps that you take to get ready to do your goal and to finish. A big thing in success science is you have to celebrate. You know, so the big thing is the timer goes off and we're woo, you know, or just doing something to recognize the moment. A lot of people think, oh gosh, that's silly. But it's so important. You're rewiring your brain for success with those positive chemicals so that you'll want to show up again tomorrow to do the same thing. And so there's science behind all of the steps. But it's not just what you're doing in those 15 minutes. There's bigger concepts behind it. One of them is there's no tomorrow and there's no yesterday. There's just today. And so what I mean by that is, if you missed yesterday, don't try to do double today.
That's right.
You let yesterday go, you start from where you are and you move forward.
Wow.
And you don't bank time for the future, right? So if we use the health example, you know, you can't try to eat 5 days worth of healthy food in one day so you can then not eat well the next 4 or 5 days. It doesn't work. Wow. So you have to just focus on, I do my 15 minutes today. I just stay laser focused. If it got away from me, I just do my 15 minutes tomorrow. Because you don't want to get that wide pendulum swing where it's like, I'm doing a ton and then I'm doing nothing. I'm doing a ton and then I'm doing nothing. And what happens is the guilt that builds up. People are like, oh, I missed. Now I have to do more. You are creating resistance and procrastination. So
preach it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's a lot more than just set the timer for 15 minutes. There's a lot of science, philosophy, and other things that we're taking into account to really wire you for success, mind, body, soul.
Yeah, I love it. I also love that you talked about celebrating that 15 minutes and anchoring into our physiology, good feelings, positive emotions. Because I think a lot of us are even so at the foundational level of effective performance that it's like, well, whenever we feel inspired or whenever we have to, versus being consistent with that 15 minutes a day and feeling good about the consistency, feeling good about putting something in our schedule, executing on it the next day, executing on it, you know, and for those 15-minute breaks. And when you were talking about banking for the future, I was like, oh my gosh, one of the things that I've done is I have convinced myself or told myself a story that if I do, let's say 5 hours of work today, then I am preparing a runway for myself for the week ahead, right? For the week ahead, not behind. Like whatever happened, I'm pretty good at letting that go. But when it comes to like that runway, I'm like, oh, I'll do 5 hours of work today instead of like an hour. And then I think that I'm good for tomorrow, but I don't think it feels good for me to not work for the next day or 2 days. And I start to like lose that groove that I was in on a daily basis. So I so see the power of not, for me, not telling myself the story that, hey, if I just do a bunch today, then I'll be good tomorrow and the next day and the next day. No, it's like the value in this is doing it every day. And of course, there's, potentially weekends off. There's days when we fall off the track. That happens. But just getting back into it and like going for it and being great with getting bite-sized steps, it is so powerful, Michelle.
It's habit.
Yeah.
And you can't make a habit if you're not doing it consistently. It's not a habit if you're not doing it consistently. And habit is where the power is. Because a lot of what trips people up is we're in our head, oh, I'm tired. I don't feel like doing it. It's a beautiful day. I just, whatever is going on. And that stuff psychs us out from actually doing what we intend to do. And when you have habit takes over. It overrides that. It's kind of like if you haven't been working out and you start at the gym, at first you're like, man, I got to go to the gym. And then you get to a point where it's the opposite. You don't feel good if you didn't do it. And so it's like that. You have to, at first you're building a new habit and you're kind of fighting against it and you've got to show up anyway. But then you get to the point where you then can't live without that. And so the woman I was just talking about who was writing, she submitted her book to Hallmark. And I said, great. Take some days off, rest and relax. She started her next book the next day. She says, it's just coming out of me. I can't not do it.
It's like a muscle that just loves to be worked.
Yeah, she didn't see it as work.
Wow,
she sees it as joy and fun.
That's huge.
And so for her, it's what they say, like, if you like what you do, you never work a day in your life.
That's right.
For her, that's what it is. Like, she can't stop it now if she wants to.
So you're also really transforming how people see the work and the effort that they put in, not just at a, hey, we're going to get you results, but hey, we're going to, you may not mention this or sell it like this, but it's like, hey, you're going to transform the way that you feel about being productive, about being efficient, about getting things done. Like, you're going to get like so much done that it's going to feel good to start doing these basic activities that you used to dread and want to resist so much and like have whatever programming around it. And you're going to love it. You're going to like so fall in love with it.
People apply Power of 15. So we're teaching you how to apply it to your wildly important goal. For the purposes of the club, you're choosing one thing to focus on because we don't want you doing 10 different things. That you're checking in on one thing. That doesn't mean we all have other things that we do in our days and our weeks. And what happens is people see the power of applying Power 15 to their goal, and they start applying it elsewhere in their lives. One woman is like, I don't want to pack for my trip, but I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes and just do it. People use it to clean their house. They use it to meditate. They use it. So they start using it in all aspects of their life, and they become very mindful about time in general. They become much more aware of when they're wasting time. They make better use of little pockets of time. Oh, I'm waiting for Johnny to come out of school. I've got 5 minutes. Let me send that client an email right now instead of watching a cat video. And so what happens is they create real-time freedom where all of a sudden what took them 8 hours to do in a day, they can do in 5. They just gained 3 hours. So when they start applying that to other things in their lives, they get more done in less time. They have more satisfaction. There's so much time and energy that's burned up in the whole, what should I be working on now?
Transition. That transition is not, it's not precise. It's not about, okay, I've done this. All right, next activity. That does not exist in so many people's lives.
And we help people to really say, what's of value? And also we look at what brings you joy. Don't do the things that don't bring you joy. How can we take, so actually one person who's in my group right now, her wildly important goal is doing her taxes. No one likes to do their taxes. It has to be done.
Yes.
So we've been thinking about all sorts of ways to make it fun for her to do it. Yeah. So of course there's some things that we just need to do and just bite the bullet and do it. But sometimes it's like that might be something to delegate, right? Like, looking at that, what should I be doing versus what could I delegate? What do I want to be doing? What's a want? What's a need? What's a should? And really getting clear on that. So you can just streamline and get rid of a lot of stuff, a lot of the noise and the to-do lists, and just get really clear on what you're doing. I tell people, you're fighting for your life every day. You have to fight to make sure that you're living the life you
best life ever
to live every day.
Yep.
Yeah. And that little cat video is actually getting in your way.
Wow.
So let us help you be aware of those things. It's a very mindful process. One of the sayings I have in the club that I say all the time is, you're being the scientist of you. You're stepping outside yourself and observing yourself on what makes you tick, what works, what doesn't, where your resistances come up. And instead of beating yourself up about it, you're observing yourself, and then you can make tweaks to your process so that you can improve and get better without all of the guilt and shame and I'm such a failure and a bad person. It's like, no, you just learned what didn't work. So now you're one step closer to what does work.
That's right. That's right. It's like welcoming and embracing failure, not because we want to fail for the sake of failing, but it's because it is always one step closer to that heck yes, to that victory, to that win.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you know, somebody who works on goals, 80% of it is the inside game around it. Yep. I say I want to run that marathon, or I want to build this business. And then, the reality is I'm scared.
Yeah.
And I have to show up even though I'm scared. And if I was on my own, I probably would give into that fear.
Yep.
Because I'm part of this and I have a safe place to share that and work through it and get support around that. I can do my 15 minutes today. I can get through it, and I can show up tomorrow. And there's a lot of power in that.
Wow. Michelle, for me personally, I love the system. From what I'm hearing about it, I'm like sold on this. Is like, yes, heck yes. And I think that there's people out there who are feeling the same. They're like, I could really see this being transformational in the results that I provide for my clients. So I love that. Is there any type of coaches who wouldn't be able to use this system, or any type of hesitation that someone might have about bringing something like this in, so that they can see if it works for their business, or like really commit to it working for their business and creating a transformation for their clients? Is there anything like that you've seen, or that people might be thinking?
That's a really great question. So it's a business model. It's not just that would be fun to do.
Let's try out Michelle Demers today.
And it's something where I have a website, I have pictures on what it all looks like. You don't really know until you've tried it.
No.
So step one is, I always have somebody who's interested in it as a possible business, is you need to have a client experience. You need to feel and do what you would be asking your clients to do.
No.
Before we even go there, though, I really talk with them about their business, their clients, and what would work. The nature of this is, a lot of it's online journaling.
Yep.
So it's great for writers. It's great for people who have health goals. It might not be a fit for every type of client, and that's what we would need to talk about.
Okay.
So I really help people, I really vet the people that I do take on to help build these kinds of businesses, because I want to have a success rate and I want them to as well.
Right. You pre-qualify. You make sure someone's has the capacity, the willingness, the determination, the resourcefulness to be able to succeed with it.
And really, they have to love it.
Yeah.
So I want them to have an experience, and if they love it, then they can coach it and they can do it and they will enjoy it and they will believe in it. And so that's really important. So they need to have their own experience. I tell people it's kind of like you wouldn't buy a McDonald's without having a hamburger. You need to actually try it.
I just like the money from it. It's like, no, you kind of need to, like, because that's what will create the fun and the love and the passion, right? That's a big theme of what I'm seeing about this. It's not just the results. It's actually how are you feeling? Who are you being in the process of achieving those results?
Right. And it's also who your clients are. I can imagine there might be a target market here or there where it might not be the right fit for exactly everybody. I had one person who was a member, and she's just not somebody who likes to type. She will always send you a video message.
Yes.
And so she's like, is there any way I could submit my check-in by video? And I said, no, that's not really how we do it. So for her, it just wasn't a fit.
Yeah.
And not that maybe I couldn't design it that way for somebody, like we could work on that, but just give it the group I was running at the time, that just wasn't how we were working it. So, being mindful of those things, of what is your client needs? What do they like to do? What's their process?
Sure.
What would work for them? So that's definitely important.
Yeah.
It is the kind of thing where this can become, if you think of your business and you have different products and services, this can become the spoke of the wheel. So this can be kind of the central gathering place where you run all your courses out of, like the accountability, the support piece can support multiple programs that you're doing.
Wow.
And actually what happens is it helps to sell other things, because someone's having such a great experience with this program that they're doing, then they want to buy the next one, or they're loving the bonding with the other group members, and so they want to go to your live event, your retreat, your live mastermind, whatever you're doing. So it actually creates more sales and opportunities and increases business term, the lifetime value of your client.
Yep.
Because they stick with you longer.
I love it, Michelle. I really hear the business savvy and business perspective that you're bringing to this as well. So it's like so awesome. All these skills that you have learned and picked up over the years, the achievement skill, right? Just achieving goals. That is like a life skill. It applies to business too, but that's like in any area, any goal, anything that we want to achieve, that's life. And then you also have this business perspective of, hey, like, are you building for your live event audiences? Because this is a great program to get people introduced to you and be able to segue into a bigger event and in person, and potentially a higher ticket item, and potentially more touch, more value delivered to them. So I love hearing the synergy of the different business models and potential ways to serve a client.
Right. When I'm working with a member on their goal, we're working on their process for achieving that goal. When I'm working with a coach, consultant, service provider who wants to create a model for their people in their business, we're looking at all of that. We're looking at the design of the program. We're also looking at, the dollars and cents, because you're a business. And there's nothing wrong with making great money as a coach, consultant. I think if you're providing massive value, you should.
Heck yes.
And you can with this. That's why I've specialized in it, because in 20 years in coaching, it's one of the best business models. It's scalable. I could have 1,000 people in a program with this. So, yeah.
Wow.
That's why I do what I do.
What does it look like as far as like the backend management? I know it's not as sexy, but for a coach who might be using this system, what do they need to know about, like, how the backend works, or what they have the ability to do as an administrator kind of thing?
That's a really good question, because I think a big downfall or a big hurdle for a lot of people is the tech aspect, right? Whether I'm trying to set up my email management or my website, this is just one more thing. So I have done for you where I set it all up for you. And I have the ability to continue to manage it for you. I have a team that does that. And that just helps people get up and running so much more quickly when they don't have to go through the learning curve. I can do for you in 2 minutes what it took me 2 years to figure out. So um, it's great because, I have one client who she's a writing coach. She had a $29 per month writing membership club, content based, but she loved the club, what I do with the daily check in and action. And what I was able to do is say, hey, if we take what you're doing with now adding this piece that I provide, we can take your $29 a month program and now it's a $7,500 a year program. And so in 2 weeks, we had it all built. She started selling. She had her first sale in week 3. And by week 4, we had people in the groups going.
Wow.
So this isn't about training you to figure it all out, months and months trying to come up with it all on your own. This is, I can get you up and running in 30 days or less, getting people in. I can create a program for you that you don't even have right now. Like, you don't even have to figure out what you want to offer. I'll help you with that.
Wow.
So I just saved you like a whole year's worth of training and trying to figure it out. So yeah, I hope if they really want to do it on their own, then I can teach them how to do that too.
Michelle, I love it. I think a lot of, especially the people who want to make their life more efficient, may not necessarily be about all the details and getting all the systems in place, but they want the dang thing to run. And so for you to come in and just like say, okay, let's press the button. Let me teach you how to operate the levers. Simple, easy, doable. I love it. I love it. This is powerful. And for anyone who's really considering about bringing this into their business and getting started with you, like, is there anything else you want them to know about the Power 15, the system, or anything else that they could do to really accelerate their own business growth?
Yeah, well, I think so. Being a coach for the last 20 years, working with a lot of other coaches, just generally speaking, what I see where a lot of people struggle is, especially when they're first starting out, the first 1 to 3 to 5 years, and they're trying to figure out their niche and their products and services, and all of this is taking so long. The key is to have something that you can just jump into, because a lot of the challenge for people is they're not making money fast enough. They're spending a lot of money training, they're spending a lot of money learning and trying to figure things out, trying to do a lot themselves oftentimes. And it's like, if you just had something that literally you could flip the switch and start bringing people into, that whole thing changes. So I think that it will help people, fewer coaches, to a lot of people end up leaving the coaching industry if they're not making the money that they need
want.
to make to stay. So that's a big part of it.
Wow, that's awesome. I hear that it really doesn't take, I mean, it could take a long time and a lot of research and effort and building things. It could do that. And you could also just say, hey, I know I have the skills, I have the value, I just want to show up, I want to serve, I want to produce results. I know that I already know enough. So let's dive in with an effective business model so I can stop spinning my wheels and just trying to do everything. And, power of focus on one thing, focus on this one business model, this one offer. If people are struggling, they're talking to people who are maybe not struggling, but they just don't have the traction that they really know they could have in their business. Like, focus on one thing, stop trying to do everything, and execute one thing well. And I think that's what I've heard, like, to get to 6 figures, like that's the secret ingredient. Focus on one dang thing, do it really well, and then you can start to expand your offers.
Oh, exactly. That's what I teach people. I mean, the woman who's my client, who we just set up her $7,500 a year program, her goal is to get 100 people in that program this year. So you do the math. Even if she only got 20, do the math. That's really good money. So not only do I help set her up, but I'm also doing the ongoing coaching and mentoring of how to get the clients, make the sales, keep the people happy, all of that side of things, so that she can actually grow the business the way that she wants to using this model.
The
Yeah.
bomb. The bomb, Michelle. I love it. I love it. So, any final words about for coaches, for people who are on the journey of growing their business? Anything else coming to
Yeah.
mind? Then we're gonna, of course, tell people how they can stay connected with you. For the people who are like, I
Sure.
want to find out more about this dang system. Like, show me, Michelle, and get to experience it firsthand. We'll dive into that. But first, like, any final pieces of wisdom around growing a business, around achieving that one goal? Anything else that comes up for you, Michelle?
Yes. Well, I was kind of alluding to it before. Just go get clients. You can help people right now. I see a lot of people. I have to write the book. I have to start the blog. I gotta, do all of these things. And 6 months go by and they don't even have a client. Just get out there, start talking to people, offer to help them, start making money. If you focus on your specialty and making money doing what you're doing, then you can afford the virtual assistant to help you set things up. You can afford the website person. So you don't then have to take the time to learn all of those things that's taking you off of doing what you do, which is where you make your money.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing I would tell people is focus on clients, service, delivery, sales, and then be able to hire and delegate to build and grow. So get to that part sooner and don't spend so much time on the, I have to get every certification under the sun before I can even get one client.
I love it. Michelle, this is gold. I want to tell our audience, how do they take the next steps? How do they find out about this system, implementing it in their own business?
Great. So I'm sorry, I thought you were going to say.
No, just tell us the next steps. How do they connect with you? What are the next steps?
So the next step is go to pwr15.com. That's our abbreviation for Power 15.
Love it.
And you can do a few things there. So one, my free resources is you can sign up for the 15 minutes, how to turn that 15 minutes into 30, 45 minutes worth of productivity. It gives you a little sample of what we do. Then if you are a coach, consultant, speaker, author, trainer, service provider, expert, course provider, somebody who creates transformation for clients, runs groups or would like to run groups, thinking about this as how could I use it for my business, reach out to me. There's a link through my site, a contact page, my direct email, just to make it easy, is pwr15 club@gmail.com. You can also message me on Facebook. I'm very accessible here. And have a conversation. This is really a conversation. It's something where I have to get to know you, know your goals. I'll share where this may or may not fit in. If I think it'll help you, I will let you know. If I don't, I will let you know. Wow. It's all about it really being a mutual fit because I want you to be successful with it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So they can email you pwr15club@gmail.com. They can go to pwr15.com and they can just find you on Facebook and in all your splendor and glory and have a conversation with you, jump in and just see, what are the possibilities, what can be done. So Michelle, I really love what you're doing. I love getting back to the basics and just how you're bringing it all together. It's really, really cool. I'm so stoked to see this impact more service providers, more coaches, more leaders and facilitators to create that transformation. Because I think that's one thing that's missing in the world is there is so much information. How do we get back to implementation? How do we get back to the results oriented production,
And how do we take the best of online courses provide, but still create a high touch experience for clients and not just those that can afford the very top tier services, but how can we provide that high touch for all of our clients in an affordable way? And that's what we can do. So Chris, I forgot to mention that I also have a Facebook group for the coach, consultant, expert who wants to learn how to grow group businesses. And I not only talk about this model, but I also bring in other group concepts for people too. So if they would like to participate there, they can find the group.
Beautiful. And remind us what the group name is. Do you remember?
It's the Ultimate Online Group Business.
Okay.
So it's Ultimate Online Group Biz, B-I-Z. is the URL for the Facebook group.
I love it. And the URL is on the name bar here on Facebook Live, as well as on the YouTube, and it'll be in the show notes, all that great stuff. Michelle, thank you so much for being here and for being you and sharing your love and impact for people, and like that commitment to people really producing those results. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, everybody.